What about all the websites out there with tons of existing content? You know, the old HTML pages, product tables, blog posts. They were built for humans to read, not for machines to understand.
Yeah, that's the legacy content problem. And it's a genuine headache for any established business with a significant web presence. How do you bring all that valuable but unstructured information into this new world of data?
Were there early attempts to solve this?
There were, but the early technical solutions, well, they were often too brittle, too fragile to work reliably at scale.
Brittle how?
Methods like XSLT or something called GRDDL, gleaning resource descriptions from dialects of languages, they often required what the researchers called a perfect lexical representation.
Meaning the HTML had to be flawless.
Pretty much. If there was just
Lexical, remember that? It's also a term that we use when we're talking about outlines. And Google has some very important patents that outlines themselves must be lexical, meaning in the correct order with no errors. In this case, we're talking about the code itself. If you remember from the Treasure Map course, I talk about Stanford's Web Credibility Project, which was one of my old professors at Stanford. His name was B.J. Fogg. He created that system, and that's one of the pieces in there. And so that whole Stanford Web Credibility Project is what Google's EEAT is all built from. So again, it's all study and research done at Stanford and MIT and a few other sources, but a lot of those, because Google itself is a funder of programs at Stanford. So the research that we do is actually requested by companies like Google. They actually pay the universities to have students do research on things. And that's pretty much how anyone in a master's PhD program is doing. All our research work that we're doing in school is basically, sure, it's sometimes our ideas, but it's almost always funded and pushed by major corporations because they're working towards a future, and it's easier for them to pay a small amount to have a ton of students work on it rather than hiring and dedicating data scientists that already have a lot of pre-programmed things in their head. So the students have a little more creativity because they don't have all this background knowledge clouding their thought. So this is why major corporations work with universities to do research.